At 45, I'm Elias, known as one of the city's most principled and successful criminal defense lawyers. I fight for those abandoned by the system, the poor, the wrongly accused. I believe in the law. At least I have to. But every day I take an oath in court, I feel like the greatest hypocrite.
My faith in the law died exactly 20 years ago. I was a young law student, about to propose to my fiancée, Sophie. She died that night, hit by a speeding sports car driven by Grant Cassel, the son of a wealthy real estate mogul, drunk going 90 miles per hour. Witnesses and evidence existed, but the Cassels had money. Grant Cassel's name vanished from the records, witnesses changed their testimonies, a corrupt judge ruled it a tragic accident. The law betrayed me. Standing at her grave, I swore I would find justice, even if it wasn't within the courtrooms. That's when my dual life began.
By day, I'm Elias, the white-collar advocate. By night, I'm a nameless shadow who restores justice where the law failed. I don't kill, I destroy. I target those who escaped penalty, fraudsters, corrupt officials, and dismantle their empires using the legal knowledge I gained. I became the ghost of justice. But now, a case on my desk has shattered my dual life. The actual killer of a homeless man is Xavier Cassel, the son of the very man who killed my Sophie 20 years ago.
My new client was Leo, a 21-year-old student wrongly accused of murdering a homeless man in the park. The case was a perfect example of the system targeting the weakest. Leo was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the pressured police closed their eyes to evidence.
The real killer, Xavier Cassel, was a mirror image of his father from 20 years ago. Arrogance, overconfident, and completely protected by Grant Cassel's money. At our first meeting regarding Leo's case, Grant Cassel gave me a faint smirk, full of contempt.
He clearly didn't remember me, but his attitude was unchanged. The law didn't apply to him. Just finish this quickly, Elias. My son shouldn't waste time on this street filth. Offer them any amount, he said, without even making eye contact.
His words, street filth, immediately dragged me back 20 years, to the day his father deemed Sophie's life an unfortunate accident. I couldn't lose this case. Now, this was not just about saving an innocent client, it was the culmination of my 20-year vendetta. I started my work with renewed intensity. As a lawyer, I had to find legal proof of Leo's innocence. My investigation led me into the shadow world where I, the ghost of justice, felt right at home. I found old CCTV footage from an abandoned cafe.
The footage clearly showed a drunken Xavier beating the homeless man and then speeding away. This was direct evidence of his guilt. But there was a problem. This evidence was obtained illegally, using methods only my night persona employs.
If I presented this footage in court, the prosecution could easily dismiss it as inadmissible evidence. Worse, it could lead to the exposure of my secret identity, my nighttime Elias. I faced an impossible choice.
Option 1, Elias the lawyer, win the case using strictly legal methods and public evidence. If I fail, Xavier, like his father, walks free. Option 2, Elias the ghost, use my full shadow power for illegal revenge. But this would compromise my legal strategy and potentially send Leo to jail.
My night alter ego whispered, "Leo is just a tool. Destroy the castles now. This is your last chance to settle the old score." I knew if I started the vengeance now, I couldn't stop. I couldn't manage Leo's case while maintaining legal integrity. I chose a dual path. I continued gathering clean evidence for Leo's defense. At night,
I began preparing the largest attack on Grant Cassel's financial empire. I had to crash his legal business using his own dirty schemes. If the Cassels went bankrupt, their defense of Xavier would crumble. But that required time, and Leo didn't have time. The court date was in 1 week.
My night work against Grant Cassel was in full swing. I used shadow accounts and offshore schemes I had studied for decades to find weak points in his construction holding. I was preparing a coordinated leak to the press and regulators that should crash his stocks and launch a criminal fraud investigation. If I succeeded, Cassel would be too busy saving himself to protect Xavier. But Grant Cassel was a predator.
He quickly sensed the leak and found the first traces of my shadow activity. He didn't know it was me, Elias, but he realized he was being attacked by someone who knew all his legal and financial vulnerabilities. The next morning, I found a sealed envelope on my desk. Inside was a single photo, me standing by Sophie's grave, and next to it, a fresh, professional photo of my client, Leo.
On the back was written, "Mind your own business, lawyer, or I'll mind your past." This was a direct threat. Cassel knew about my trauma and that I was defending Leo. He didn't know about the ghost of justice, but he knew how badly I wanted to defeat his son in court. He was using my strongest motive against me. If I didn't back off, he would ruin my reputation and endanger my life. Under pressure, I snapped. For the first time in 20 years, I drove not to court or my shadow office, but to the cemetery. I stood before Sophie's grave, clutching Cassel's ultimatum. "Sophie," I whispered, "what do I do? If I win legally, Xavier might walk free. If I seek revenge, I might save Leo, but I'll lose everything. I promised you justice, and I became a lying lawyer and a criminal in a mask."
I realized my revenge was not serving justice, had become my personal addiction. The ghost of justice had become more important than Elias the lawyer. I returned to the office and called my best friend, Mark, the prosecutor. I knew Mark was honest and the only one who could help. I had to share everything, even at the cost of prison.
I brought Mark to my shadow office and showed him everything. The CCTV footage, the financial evidence against Grant Cassel, all my 20 years of work as the ghost. "This is what I've been doing, Mark. I'm a criminal. But this evidence, it's real. It can send Xavier to jail and destroy his father. You have to use it." Mark was in shock, but as a prosecutor, he couldn't take illegal evidence. He said, "I can use your confession, Elias, but I can't use these leads. If you come with me, you'll go to jail, but Leo will get a new lawyer, and it won't touch the Cassels." I had 48 hours until Leo's trial. I realized I couldn't save the innocent while my revenge was incomplete. I had to choose. I set Mark away. My decision? The revenge will be mine. I activated the leak to the press and regulators. The financial attack had begun. I sacrificed my career and possibly Leo's safety. But I had to destroy the Cassels.
My financial attack was flawless. The night before the trial, Grant Cassel was struck in his heart. Coordinated leaks about his illegal dealings caused his stock to plummet. The FBI launched an investigation, and accounts were frozen. His lawyers abandoned him. Xavier Cassel showed up with a cheap last-minute lawyer who understood nothing about the case.
For the first time in 20 years, the Cassels were vulnerable. I, Elias the lawyer, entered the courtroom to save Leo. My initial goal was to use the opponent's weakness and the clean evidence I gathered, but I knew it wasn't enough. Without the camera footage, Xavier might walk free, and Leo would only get a shadow of a doubt, not a full acquittal.
During the cross-examination of a key witness who had lied against Leo, I suddenly pulled from nowhere an illegal audio recording where Cassel Sr. was blackmailing that witness. This was the pure illegal work of the ghost of justice. The prosecution immediately objected. "Objection, Your Honor! Inadmissible evidence! Where did the defense obtain this?" I looked at the judge and made my final move. I did not lie. "Your Honor," I said, "I received this evidence anonymously. I admit it was obtained outside established procedures, but it proves Mr. Leo is innocent and that Grant Cassel fabricated evidence. If you don't allow this, you let the Cassels escape justice once again."
Silence fell in the courtroom. I staked everything, my career, my freedom, and Leo's case. My night alter ego won over my day alter ego. The judge, recognizing the public outcry and seeing the prosecution's case crumble, made a Solomon's decision. He excluded the recording, but declared that all testimony from Cassel Sr. and his witnesses was unreliable due to the threat of blackmail.
Leo was acquitted. Justice was served. I won the main battle. Leo was free. But that same evening, as the FBI arrested Grant Cassel for fraud, my friend Mark called me. "You won, Elias, but you used what you shouldn't have. You crossed the line. We can't ignore your anonymous help with evidence." And Cassel, before they took him away, named the ghost. He knows you were his secret enemy.
I had to leave. I said goodbye to Mark. I permanently left the city, my law practice, and my double life. I saved an innocent man and destroyed the empire that killed my fiancée. I fulfilled my oath, but I became a fugitive. I now live under a different name. I am neither a lawyer nor an avenger. I am just a man who knows the law is a tool and justice is a choice. And that choice always has a price.
I broke the law to achieve justice, but my friend Mark, true to the letter of the law, refused to use the truth that would have saved an innocent man sooner.
If you were a lawyer, knowing you could only save an innocent person by breaking the law and using illegal evidence, would you do it? Does a man have the right to seek justice outside the law when the law itself is corrupt?
If this story about the price of justice and the double life resonated with you, please hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel to hear more stories where the choice costs more than life.